National radio broadcast for Duke, North Carolina. And in one of the display cabinets, there was a pair of shoes, whether they were Bobby Hurley's or Grant Hill's. I don't know. They look like grass cutters, man. They were these. That's the thing. As good as they look at times, there is still a lot of slippage. And the slippage is not stuff that is obvious on the surface. There's rotational issues. They don't have the size that they typically have. So I do think there are limitations. They're just very good in the ACC this year. Not as good as the team they had last year, no doubt.
You know, Nate Laszewski's been really quiet, but Cormac Ryan has picked up the slack. Laszewski's only taken one shot. Wow. And this Notre Dame offense, Coach K anticipated that it could give his young defensive problems. They had to recover a little bit after the Notre Dame game, and it's one that makes you move, and it's one that makes you have to be alert. And Notre Dame has been very effective. Jalen Johnson hits another one from out.
He's a scorer. Matthew Hurt checking back into the game with 2 fouls. Duke played well with the small lineup, cut into the deficit. Baker looking for somebody, and he finds Stewart. Still plenty of time.
When North Carolina gets the ball in the half court, that means they have to go at Matthew Hurt. Try to pick up that third foul. Nice play by Jalen.
Was ranked 153 consecutive games over 61 years where at least one. Johnson with a rebound on the miss. And Moore thought about it, puts it on the deck. Good closeout there by Sharp. Johnson spins, banks, and hits. It was still a season, a year and change before Roger Maris would break the record. I mean, 1960 is so long ago, neither one of us was born in. First televised Olympics in North America. I mean, it really is remarkable. 153 consecutive. When doubt, go down to that guy. Brooks has had a good game, but misses here.
Yeah, you think that Garrison Brooks would want to power that ball more toward the bucket rather than settle for a turnaround jumper fading away.
All of his 10 coming early. Good catch in traffic by Wendell Moore.
But just a tough pass to be able to make.
And Jalen Johnson not.
Yeah, Duke's really going to have to spread the floor now. Spread and drive. Try to force help and then play drive and kick basketball. You'll have an open post because there's nobody in there to post.
Goldwire, good cut, and the slam by Johnson to tie it.
Isaiah Wong. He's added muscle from his freshman year to this year, and that was on display there. Nice. Johnson got his own rebound and scored. 18 lead changes in this game. Tight throughout. Largest lead for each team, 6 points. Miami's in the first half. And Duke's in the early stages of the second half. Jalen Johnson working on Nasir Brooks. Took a bump and got now made 12 of his last 13. Miami by 5. Inching closer to what would be a huge upset. Having lost 4 in a row. All by double digits. Jalen Johnson inside is off the clock, and they get it to Wong, who knocks down a deep 2.
Are you kidding me? The crossover step back against Wendell Moore by Isaiah Wong. That was big time. What a great play.
Instead of, are you kidding me, in the spirit of the evening, we should have said, surely you can't be serious. Jalen Johnson, nice move, and he
has a couple of fouls to give as well. So you don't want to let Duke, you don't want to foul, but you don't want to let him have anything easy either.
Jalen Johnson powers his way to the bucket again. Brooks.
Off the steal. Johnson punches it. In the country in free throws attempted.
Well, a lot of that has to do with their youth. So you consider that oftentimes young players want to attack with the jump shot, but Jalen Johnson males out of bad situations and not only helping them on the court, but helping them become better people, and more importantly, using education as the key to being able to do so. I'm a very good friend with many of Coach Chaney's former players, Eric Brunson, Eddie Jones, Aaron McKee, Deion Dakins. And when you think about what he was about, education.
Where they're from. He is a former Blue Devil, regardless of whether you want to say he was a Mustang or not.
ACC in three-point shooting. Blue Devils have it now after the initial miss, and in the front court, here's Roach.
It's interesting to see Duke with his starting lineup go back to that man-to-man. Foul trouble's been the issue, particularly with guys like Matthew Hurt and Jalen Johnson, who have to carry the load down low.
And Jalen Johnson,
he was ready to take that jump outside of the restricted area. One of those we'll call more experienced players that you got to lean on.
It's not that time.
Do I need to pull my Captain Obvious guy over here from my office? Because I have one. I stole one from Bubbleville.
Jalen Johnson on the heard about each other's background, gotten to know each other a little bit along the way too. And there's been some conversation between the two in the last few trips.
Yeah, maybe exchanged email addresses or something like that. I don't know if they've gotten that far, but they have been talking.
Maybe instant handles.
Watch this game, Reese. It's probably going to be close down the stretch. Both teams playing pretty well, but it's a great experience for Duke to find a way to close out a game, and that's the transition opportunities. A program win for Georgia Tech and Josh Pastner.
Tech has its first lead since they were up 25-23, a one-point edge. Jalen Johnson.
The ball screen with the guard, then bring Moses right up, so you disguise the ball screen, which Duke has struggled to defend. Get the ball back to Jose Alvarado. Just a great execution down the stretch at a big time.
And Del Moore trying to move on Usher. DJ Stewart has been quiet for a while for the Blue Devils, and as Johnson
bullied, and I think he came into the press conference and said, "We got punked." So that's got to change.
And Mike Krzyzewski wasn't much happier, to be honest, after the Pittsburgh win, although Duke did show a lot of fight in the second half, made a game with it, took a 15-point deficit down to 2, but it wound up losing to Jeff Capel's Panthers by 6. Pittsburgh off to a good start. They're 4-1 in league play right now. Matthew Hurt into Jalen Johnson, spins, hits, and a chance for 3. Well, that's Samuel Williamson at the outset, and as you can see, he's a real energy guy. He's a talker out there, and he just knocked down a 3.
Well, he makes their defense better because he communicates so well. He was 7 of 28 from 3 before that shot, but he is a good shooter.
How easy to Jalen.
But he had 18 points, 11 rebounds, a couple of steals in that one. I mean, averaging a double-double when his coach says he wasn't ready to play. That's pretty darn good.
Hey, can I interject with another ACC score in a game going on right now as Johnson draws the foul.
Whenever Duke was in man-to-man. It's a lot different to be able to target a player in his zone, a lot more difficult.
Louisville by 1. Let's send it quickly to Reese Davis.
All right, Dan, just let me know LSU and Kentucky starting on ESPNU if you want to watch that. We'll get there as soon as you guys are done.
All right, Reese, thank you. We are going right down to the proverbial wire. By the way, we should mention Jalen Johnson now into the game for Duke, came in after the timeout. Three-pointer a little bit strong for Ithiel Horton, who's a very good shooter, a transfer from Delaware. Stewart, nice feed to Johnson.
It's like, look, I'm going to teach you how to be a great coach, just not teach you how to beat me. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Jeff Capel also coaching at VCU in Oklahoma. Johnson with a long 2, and it's good. Champagny, Tony, and Johnson. They're averaging, John, 50 points per game between the 3 of them.
Yeah, and it's one of those things when you watch, you say, all right, how do you shut them down? Well, it's hard to do so because a lot of them, they're simple effort plays. They create for themselves with their effort and their toughness.
And now he's back in there in the front court. Johnson. Got it back, lays it in.
For college basketball, we talked about the development in the first half. That's a guy that's developed.
Horton misses the 3. Jalen Johnson getting a lot of minutes. Second game back off the foot injury and looking good. Volley. Roach with a couple of crossovers off to Johnson for 3. Got it.
Yeah, when I need to be like on the basketball court, but anymore, I'm just keeping it clean, Dan.
8-point lead, Pitt over Duke, in a game that Pitt has led almost the entire way. Jalen Johnson, a big second half, and again, Penny. And then a block at the other end. Johnson got a piece of it. And here he comes. And there he goes.
as the Hokies continue to lay it on offensively, and a lean with a pull-up pop to make it 33-16. And the Hokies are getting basically any variety of shots.
Clean up post play. So all of a sudden you get a foul or two in the post while the referees are setting the tone, and you're sitting, and guards don't have to go through that.
Johnson did a good job.
Frazier's an outstanding player. He's a big-time scorer. He's scored over 1,200 points in his career, or close to it. I think he's right at 1,200.
Yep.
You know, he's had 20, 30-point games and was a top scorer before Io DeSumo. He's taken more of a complimentary role as a scorer, but he can still get you 20, 25 in a game. Christmas holiday, because they wouldn't be able to play when they got back. They'd essentially have to quarantine their team. We're being advised by our government not to travel over the holiday, and yet these players are traveling. The NCAA told us we would never play in bubbles because they're amateurs, and we're playing in bubbles, and all these players are.
For the feathery finish at the top.
There you go. First bucket of the game, Jalen Johnson. Mike Krzyzewski has been very successful mining the fertile basketball grounds of Chicago, Illinois. DJ Stewart is the latest and greatest. Finally, something goes in deep for Jalen Johnson.
The ball for Bellarmine has been outstanding tonight. They just haven't had it enough to impact the game.
Bellarmine was very good for many, many years at the Division II level. And all of a sudden, 7 quickies for Jalen Johnson. If he stays here this senior year, something's gone dramatically wrong. Lead is 21 for Duke. Johnson. 2 men in the same exact spot.
Hurt's ready to shoot the ball. That's why he was over there. He's got a hot hand.
Goldwire setting up the offense. Stewart. Jump stop. Backdoor cut. Johnson. Oh, that's the future right there. Stewart.
Michigan State 1 for 6 from the floor with 3 turnovers and 5 fouls, and now they're 1 out of 7 shooting. Johnson powers to the bucket. Then there was some talk about both games being played in Indianapolis. Finally, Coach K got together, decided to play it on a campus. And it's worked out very well for both sides being here at Cameron.
Pre-COVID, it was originally in Chicago, I think, wasn't it?
It was.
What a move by Jalen Johnson. Brought Rocket Watts back into the ball game.
We need to get a quick shot up. Had just 3 seconds out of the timeout. Jalen Johnson trying to and he has 10. 1 shy of his career high set against Charleston Southern last year.
Well, those numbers you were talking about with Jalen Johnson, I think the only other Division I player to put up numbers like that was Ethan Happ.
The last 10 years.
Yeah, in the last 10 years. That's really stunning.
To have 19, 19, 5, and 4 or more. He did it in his first game against a pesky Coppin State team that...
For Coppin State. Nothing in the early going. Such a different atmosphere, of course, than these Blue Devils are used to playing in here in Cameron. Nice fadeaway there. Knox for 3. That one goes begging. And then Johnson the rebound. We'll see his ability to take it on his own. Falling
Great
away
drive.
off glass.
Great drive.
Stewart does well there to recover after the bad pass. Makes up for his mistake. Floats that one toward Williams. Kicks it out. Johnson. And Johnson hits the 3.
He's showing us everything.
Hurt. Kicks it out. Stewart, who made sure he was in bounds, lets loose with the 3. Johnson inside using the big body. A nice.
That could get you going. We'll see how he finishes the half.
Blue Devils by a dozen, 37-25. Nice look inside. There's a double-double. Johnson flying backboard, lost the angle there. Now Stewart again. Hurt in between 2 Eagles, gets it over to Johnson, who lays it in. Touch. Now it's Moore. Off balance, Johnson, one-handed.